Podcorn. This podcast is brought to you by MC2424A, IPR MSA, UITM, Malacca Chapter.
Hey, bestie! It's me, your host, Alif Shafiq Albert from MC2424A, and welcome to Alif's podcast, where we will be spilling some tea regarding the current hunger issue in Malaysia and all across the world. In this podcast, we will look more closely at the second Sustainable Development Goals, which is to end hunger. This goal is to have a world without hunger by 2030. What are we waiting for? Let's dive into this topic, which is hunger mania. Malaysia is a multi-ethnic nation with a population of over 30 million people. Unfortunately, the country is facing a serious hunger issue. According to the World Food Programme, an estimated 5.7 million Malaysians are food insecure, meaning that they lack access to nutritious and safe food. The main causes of hunger in Malaysia are poverty, unemployment, and rising food prices. Poverty is one of the main causes of hunger in Malaysia, as nearly 1 in 5 people live below the poverty line. Unemployed individuals are also at high risk of food insecurity, as they lack the financial resources to purchase food. Furthermore, rising food prices make it difficult for people to access nutritious and safe food. The pandemic has further exacerbated the hunger issue in Malaysia. The outbreak led to a significant rise in unemployment, leaving many people without an income to purchase food. This has been further compounded by the government's restrictions on movement, as many people are unable to access food assistance programs. The majority of people mistakenly believe that famine occurs in areas of extreme poverty because they themselves are unaware that hardships can occur to anyone at any time, regardless of their financial situation. That, however, is typically, let's say, the last serious issue. The inability to deliver food to those in need is unquestionably the issue. People wake up, take a shower, drink a cup of coffee or tea, eat breakfast, and do other mundane tasks they take for granted without realizing that perhaps a block or two from their homes, people are denied access to daily cravings. As me myself, if I were to have craving, I would just go to the store and grab what I want. But people who does not have access to that, what do they feel? Do we know what they feel? Yes, we have to take some time and think about it. Some people have never experienced hunger or thirst, whereas others battle with these issues every day. Wasted food from meals is a problem that impacts everyone. It occurs everywhere. Food is present, including eating establishments, supermarkets, our homes, schools, farms, and possibly even transportation. Hunger and food waste touch people worldwide, including those who are living across oceans and inside our borders, as well as friends and family. The problem of hunger in Malaysia has been given attention by the government of Malaysia, which has taken many steps to combat the program. The Rakyat Feed scheme, which supplied free food to low-income households, was initiated by the government in the year 2020. In addition, the government has established a program that provides cash transfers to low-income households in order to assist those households with their food costs. The government of Malaysia has also taken measures to combat food waste in the country. It has launched a variety of programs, including one called My Food Bank, which collects unused food from grocery stores and restaurants and gives it to people who are in need of it. The Food Bank Malaysia program, which encourages businesses to give their excess food to people who are in need, has also been launched as part of this campaign. For now, let's talk about the global hunger issue. The body of a person, especially the body of a teenager, is dramatically affected by the regular lack of nutrition. Global Poverty and Hunger, an assessment of Millennium Development Goal 1 by Rebecca Schoff-Kozak, claims that hunger tends to afflict some groups disproportionately. Hunger is particularly dangerous to women, people with disabilities, older people, and children and young people. This demonstrates that the planet is perishing and needs the assistance that we can offer. The ones that society should aid are the minorities that struggles with hunger. The effects of starvation include thinning hair, and teeth, exhaustion, upset stomach, indigestion, and other very nasty ailments. Women are the most significant groups of people who crave during pregnancy. Hunger issues frequently result in miscarriage and the delivery of dead newborns. In some cases, people simply give up after going hungry for a long time and then they pass away, despite the fact that many individuals do not perceive hunger to be a problem because it does not touch them. It is a real issue and we have to step in it. In his book Morality and World Hunger, Rudiger Bittner claims that the real issue is the first premise that morality speaks to people only on how to deal with those whom they are close. This shows that although individuals are generally helpful, they are only so when it directly affects them. Today's environment requires everyone, I repeat, everyone, to leave their comfort zones and extend a helping hand to anyone or everyone in need, whether they are a family, whether they are a friend, or even a stranger. One of the more tragic complex facts of that starving crisis is that the food industry and our society no longer distribute meals based on the nutritional needs of everyone. No doubt that people from all over the world have an economic impact on one or another, but they do not all live together. According to Rudiger Bittner also, the author of Morality and World Hunger. They are cohabitating in significantly smaller groups, including families, workplaces, and firms. This demonstrates that the same family that consumes 3 nutritious meals per day and discard half of their food also lives close to the neighbors who lost their houses and sense of security and who go for days without eating. Today's society emphasizes independence and only offers assistance when necessary. So before things can be improved, that culture must shift. There are likely many places around the world where people can see evidence of global hunger and poverty. However, a precise definition of poverty must come first. In a country that is poor, people's or enterprises' ability to use their influence to make a difference for their families, their communities, and themselves is limited or even hindered. Material poverty is defined as not having enough to eat. This kind of poverty has enormous negative effects on people, including potential harm to their sense of worth and negative impact on their view on life. Nobody deserves to be in a situation like that without assistance or even help for a way out. Therefore, it is tragic when people are forced to witness their family members in a lacking state of hunger and poverty rather than seeing them happy and safe because they have a roof over their heads and food in their bellies. Families are harmed by this, which makes them feel like helpless and depressed. Because there aren't enough trained doctors and nurses to assist with childbirth, over 300,000 mothers and 2.5 million newborns die each year in countries that are struggling with poverty and hunger. There are around 20 million infants born underweight every year because children in poor nations are so underweight. These figures are astounding. All of these children's poverty-related illness and malnutrition will eventually result in their deaths. There are more horrible statistics, but I think we can hopefully put a stop to them. The United States is seen as an obese nation because they are eating so much and serve themselves such large servings. By reducing the amounts of serving sizes, they might create enough food to donate to the hungry in the United States and other nations. According to statistics, 13.2% of adults and 5.9% of children under the age of 5 in the United States were overweight in 2012. While we have too much food, children in developing nations are underweight and dying from a lack of it. This is primarily caused by our large servings and the promotion of fast food in society. Everything should be big and extra gigantic in America. It's go big or go home. Therefore, they enlarge everything they eat. All of the food labels we consume list serving sizes, but nobody ever sticks to them. Do you ever wonder why were they put on the food packaging. Additionally to that, they add steroids and hormones to the food, which increases its addictive and fattening properties and encourages people to eat more. People grow weight overnight and obese as a result of it, which results in health issues and shortened lifespans. If this continues, we'll become just like the characters in Wall-E. However, if we reduce the cost of some nutritious foods, people will cook more and eat out less, driving the closure of fast food restaurants, which will free up funds for additional food. Can we lessen poverty? I believe we can. According to the United Nations Ending Poverty Reports from 2019, more than 780 million people currently live below the international poverty line on 1.90 cent a day. More than 11% of the world's population lives in extreme poverty. People's lack of access to livelihood opportunities, clean water, food, and even adequate education are contributing factors to the issue of poverty in these nations. I believe that the government might aid a great deal of it, but they are only interested in enriching themselves. According to this article from the Le Journal International Archive, foreign aid hurts sub-Saharan Africa more than it helps. According to the Big Push theory, poor countries receiving aid appear to be in a worse situation than they were before. The reason for this is because the money that Africa receives to assist the poor, they use it to assist the wealthy in amassing even more wealth. The reason they keep providing them money is to improve their own image and give the impression that they are concerned about the other nation. Since aid isn't really making a difference, it needs to be rebuilt, and new regulations should be implemented to demonstrate progress. In my opinion, if we can alter the structure of these government's pyramids, we can break the cycle of just assisting the wealthy in their quest for wealth and being assisting the poor in their effort to escape poverty. There is evidence that previously impoverished nations have overcome their circumstances and are now flourishing. There are 11 nations that were once extremely poor but are now significantly wealthier. Europe's Luxembourg comes in first. At the beginning of the 19th century, 80% of the people work in agriculture. When the things become really bad, approximately a third of the Luxembourg population fled to other countries like the US to survive because many families could barely afford to live there. But Luxembourg underwent a change as the mines and factories grew. The lucrative steel industry of the nations was born. Due to the discovery of iron ore in the south, Luxembourg was one of Europe's top steel manufacturers by the end of 19th century. South Korea, Singapore, Spain, Saudi Arabia, and Ireland are a few further examples. Singapore was a nation with little in the way of natural resources and high rate of unemployment, with the majority of the population living in slums and half of the population being illiterate. The living conditions were appalling and the employment were very unstable. Life wasn't easy there. When Lee Kuan Yew became their country's first prime minister, everything changed. From 1959 to 1990, he served as Singapore's prime minister. In an effort to draw in foreign investors, he single-handedly reduced taxes, eliminate corruption, made English the primary language, increased the workforce, and outlawed trade unions. As a result, international funds started to flow in. The government of Singapore invested the new funds in enhancing the country's infrastructure, including housing and other areas. The standard of living was greatly increased by the 1970s. The country is credited with changing from a third world country to a first world country in a single generation under Lee's leadership. Now consider Saudi Arabia, where a large number of individuals shell out astronomical sums for a luxurious all-inclusive holiday that includes the renowned Dubai. Clearly, this is not the same as it was previously. They were formerly among the world's poorest nations, even lacking the most basic amenities like electricity, roads, or the ability to pay for education. This proves that we can eradicate hunger and poverty worldwide with just action provided by the smallest amount of money, or even just by donating even 1 ringgit to the person who are in need. In conclusion, the hunger issue in Malaysia is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. The pandemic of COVID-19 has only made the situation worse, but the government has taken many steps to tackle the issue. With the right policies and initiatives, we can ensure that everyone in Malaysia has access to nutritious and safe food, and we can eradicate hunger to the zero hunger issue in Malaysia. With that being said, I would like to thank everyone for listening and tune in to my podcast. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to me. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you everyone for listening.